Happy Monday, fourth graders. I'm going to start sharing right away because this is going to be your recording for your social studies. So have your reflections books out, and we are headed to page, I believe it's 226. So if you're choosing to follow along with me, let me get rid of this. I'd love for you to have your books out so that you can follow along. Um, that's all part of it. We are jumping into chapter 6. This is lesson 1, and we are headed to the gold rush. So on page 226, here we go. We're going to start reading and follow along. This is your, you are there. So put on that imagination cap, look up at your timeline. So we're in this 1848 time period. You can see the stretch from 1825 to 1855. And here we are right now. Okay, you are there. Imagine you are standing by the river when you see a shining rock in the gravel. Your heart beats faster as you scoop it up. The year is 1848, and until a few days ago, you were working to build a sawmill on the American River in Northern California. Then somebody found a shining yellow rock in the river. Now everybody is looking for yellow rocks. If the nuggets you find are gold, you'll be rich. Imagine that. So this is a photograph of James Marshall, and it was taken in the 1870s, many years after gold was discovered at Sutter's Mill. Marshall handed out autograph cards below. So here they are. So we're going to learn more about this. Moving on, gold, January 24th, 1848, in Coloma, California. John Sutter had decided to build a sawmill at Coloma on the banks of the American River. He hired a carpenter named James Marshall and several other workers to build the sawmill. On January 24th, while digging at the site, the workers found a small nugget or lump of something that looked like gold. Marshall quickly reported the discovery to Sutter, who had the nugget tested. It was indeed gold. No one is sure who found the first gold nugget, but Marshall said that he did. By the time Sutter and Marshall arrived back at the sawmill, the workers had found more gold. Soon, the workers stopped working and spent all their time looking for gold. They had caught gold fever. In time, word of the discovery at Sutter's Mill leaked out and a gold rush started. A gold rush is a huge movement of people going to a place to look for gold. Sam Brannan traveled from San Francisco to Coloma to see if the stories were true. When he returned to the city, he held up a bottle filled with gold dust and ran through the streets yelling, "Gold, gold, gold from the American River." So here down below, it says when word of the discovery of gold leaked out, almost all of the 800 residents of San Francisco left to go to Coloma near Sutter's Mill below. So you can see, so it's up north. So we are in Northern California. San Francisco is north, but it's even further, further up north. All right, let's keep going. Bound for California. Gold fever spread further when President James K. Polk announced the discovery. In a short time, about 90,000 fortune seekers traveled to California. They were called 49ers because many of them arrived in 1849. Most of the 49ers were men, but some were women. Most women came with their husbands, fathers, or brothers. As many as 1,000 African Americans also joined the gold rush. Some were free, others were brought as enslaved workers from the South, the states in the southern part of the United States, to mine gold. Sometimes an owner would agree to give a slave freedom if that slave mined $2,000 worth of gold. Many slaves earned enough money to buy their freedom and the freedom of their family members as well. There were three main routes to California from the United States. The fastest of these took travelers across the Isthmus of Panama. An isthmus is a narrow piece of land that connects two larger land areas. The Isthmus of Panama connects North America and South America. So when you look over to the right, you can see the two continents. And so you can see that isthmus, that path between the two. 49ers traveled across the isthmus by riverboat, on mules, and by foot. In the hot climate, many people caught diseases and died. Those who made it to the Pacific coast waited there to catch ships to California. The second route was by ship around the tip of South America. This route was the longest and could take from 3 to 8 months. The third route to California was all by land. Overland travelers had to cross deserts and mountain ranges. Other challenges they faced include accidents, illness, and lack of food and water. So there were three routes. They had to decide which one was going to work for them. Most 49ers came from the United States, but many came from Mexico, South America, Europe, Australia, and Asia. By 1852, thousands of Chinese had also joined the gold rush. In fact, about 1 of every 4 gold seekers was Chinese. To them, California was Gum Sam, or Gold Mountain. While most 49ers headed to California to get rich quickly and then return home, others came to escape wars and other hardships in their homelands. Luing traveled to California from China. He explained his decision this way: crops had failed and floods had ruined our fields. What else could I do? So here's a picture back to the left. It says some 49ers sped to California on clipper ships, the fastest ships of the time. Traveling on a clipper ship was very expensive, but people paid the price, believing that they would find a fortune in gold in California. So California was quite the place everyone was trying to get to. Staking a claim. This is page 230. Upon arriving in California, a 49er's first task was to find a good spot to look for gold. Once this was done, the miner could set up a claim. A claim was the area a miner said belonged to him or her. To mark off a claim, a miner usually put wooden stakes or posts around it. It's kind of like a fence is what it feels like. This was called staking a claim. Most claims were along streams that flowed from the Sierra Nevada into the Sacramento and San Joaquin rivers. Sometimes miners claimed land that was already owned by someone else. Some miners even ignored the claims of others. California Indians, rancho owners, and other early California settlers, such as John Sutter and Mariano Vallejo, often found that parts of their lands had been dug up or destroyed by miners. The miners used many tools to find gold. With shovels and picks, miners dug for gold in shallow creeks and ditches. With metal pans, miners searched for gold in rivers and streams. To look for gold this way, a miner would scoop river water, sand, and gravel into a shallow pan. Next, he or she would swirl the water around. So you can kind of see these are the miners. They're using pans to separate the gold from the dirt and gravel they dug. They also use long ramps called sluices through which water could flow. So here it is right here. Just wanted to look at something real quick. Yeah. It's pretty incredible that this gold is just in the rivers. All right, let's keep going. This made the heavy bits, including the gold, sink to the bottom. Then the miner carefully spilled out the water and dirt. Sometimes two miners worked together to use a tool that was called a cradle because it was rocked like a baby's cradle. The cradle had two trays, one above the other. The miners filled the top tray with sand, soil, and gravel. Then one miner poured water over the dirt, and the other miner rocked the cradle. Any larger pieces of gravel were trapped in the top tray, and the water and the rest of the dirt flowed through openings into the bottom one. The water washed the dirt out through an opening in the bottom tray, leaving the heavier gold behind. Looking for gold was hard work. Miners often worked 6 days a week. Many got up before dawn and they stopped only when it became too dark to see. A miner named Prentice Mulford wrote that mining combines within itself the various arts of canal digging, ditching, laying stone walls, plowing, and plowing. So you can see again, this is just kind of a scene of miners doing their thing, right? Working all day into the night through the heat. It says most, this is kind of a fast fact fun. Most gold seekers were under 30 years of age. More than 9 out of 10 were men, which we had read earlier. All right, last 2 pages. The mining camps. The 49ers set up camps wherever they thought they could find gold. Life in these camps was very hard. Tents and shacks offered little protection from rain, wind, and cold weather. The dirt streets in the camps were usually filled with trash. Food was often scarce, and there was little medicine. When they stopped working for the day, the miners in the camps found ways of entertaining themselves. They might play cards, read books if they could find them, and play music and sing songs or just sit and talk. Sunday was most often a day of rest from mining. Preachers who traveled from one camp to another held religious services. Miners also spent the day cleaning or mending clothes and doing other chores. Many 49ers were lured to California by tall tales of gold nuggets just waiting to be picked up. In fact, however, few people got rich from mining gold. In letters to her sister, Louise Clapp, who had moved with her husband from New England to the mining camps, wrote about the truth of the gold rush. A man may work in a claim for many months, she wrote, and be poorer in the end, or he may take out thousands in a few hours. It is a mere matter of chance. These letters were later published and are among the first true accounts of the gold rush. So it was almost as if finding gold were luck. You were lucky if you found it and struck it rich. But that was the hope of all of these miners who were making their way to California. Here's a little summary. Gold was discovered in California in 1848. Within a year, thousands of people arrived in California. Gold mining was hard work, and few people got rich from mining gold. So here's Louise Clapp, and that was who had wrote and whose letters were later published. And just another, this looks like a picture of the miners kind of enjoying a day off, kind of just hanging out together, doing other chores, taking care of business and being together. So kind of a neat thing as well. And then here's a little map, of course, California. Here's the Central Valley, and you can see the major gold mining towns. So you can look at the key and you can look a little bit more carefully according to the key at the different mining towns. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. That is a great kickoff to the gold rush. We will be reading and talking more about it today during social studies in class. All right, have a great morning, fourth graders. See you soon.